Hey everyone, this is Ralph Leary, obviously the crowded booth. No Bryce Kuhn tonight, so you're stuck with me and Will tonight. Once again, sorry, it may not be as great, but look, it's me and Will. We're doing the best we can, and look, stay tuned. We're talking about college football this weekend, and this is the crowded booth.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The crowded booth is coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Kuhn.
Well, Will, just you and me tonight again.
Look. Yeah, Bryce is indisposed at the moment.
Look, it's been a rough week for the guys this week. Will's been a little sick this week. Bryce came down with something today, and we're just we're banged up this week. I think I'm only holding strong, so that means I'm getting sick this weekend now. So
banged up, bruised. That's what happens the first couple weeks of the year.
Yeah, it happened in Auburn yesterday too. Apparently, we won't.
If only somebody was there that could have seen
it. Look, I saw it happen as we were walking back inside. All I saw was him take his cleat off. Walked over to talk to somebody, and that's all we could see. I could not tell if anything happened after that. So they do a really good job of hiding stuff like that. I'll give them that. But look, another week of football, obviously week 5, and this is the week everyone's been waiting for. This is in the premier college football week. Incredible matchups. You got the Ryder Cup this weekend too. If you really like sports, this is a great weekend in general.
Yeah. Going to be slam packed all day Saturday. And then, of course, a full NFL slate on Sunday. So great sports weekend.
Yeah.
My wife picked a great time to go out of town.
Yeah. Where is she at? She's really out of town? Where's
Alaska.
Oh, golly. That's just get as far away from football as you can, basically. It's what I've learned from that.
Basically.
Yeah. Look, it's Will and I tonight, obviously with no Bryce. We're going to do a lot tonight. We're going to talk ball like we always do. We're going to show you our best bets tonight with Bryce's best bet on there, which is probably the best one. It's not as good as his week 0 one last year or 2 years ago. But look, we're going to start the slate off tonight with the premier game, the one that's not college game day, but it's the premier game in the Southeast. Everyone knows it is. It's Alabama at Georgia. Georgia opened up as a 3.5 favorite, and then now it's 2.5, which is I think it drops to 1.5 Saturday morning. I feel like.
Wow.
I think it does. It should. I think. These games.
I don't know. I mean, I know Alabama's ranked 17th, but they have shown nothing to give anybody, at least me, any idea that they should be impressive. Ty Simpson has rebounded well the last 2 games. He's completed over 80% of his passes the last 2 games against teams that can barely field a football team. So Alabama goes on the road, which they already had to do against Florida State, but they got the doors blown off of them. So I don't know if that's really an advantage for them since they've already been on the road. Yeah. Georgia's had their fair share of problems too. I worry about their play at the lines of scrimmage on both sides. I don't think this Georgia defense, especially the pass rush, is what we've seen in recent years. The offensive line, I think, going into the Tennessee game, I thought it was worse than it was last year, but I think that game gave me some hope that with the new pieces on that offensive line, that Georgia's offensive line is going to be a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, Ralph, this offense as a whole is elite. They've got a Heisman candidate in Gunnar Stockton. He didn't make my top 5, but another big performance, and he'll probably make it next week. They've got receivers on the outside. Finally, Zachariah Branch just is kind of a do-it-all. I mean, I had Georgia friends saying, just give him the ball every play. I don't care. Yeah. He is a playmaker for sure on the outside. this could be a fun game. I think a real fun game.
Yeah, you go back to last year in this matchup. I was in Baton Rouge at the LSU South Alabama game, and Bryce and I are sitting up there watching the game on our phone, and everyone's paying attention to the game, obviously, and you're looking like, wow, Alabama's up big at halftime. What happened? And then Georgia just kind of started coming back, so we headed right back to his house, watched the rest of the game. Crazy ending, obviously. It was kind of that game where everyone was like, wow, Ryan Williams is that guy. And after that, it kind of just slumped away. And obviously,
where's he been since then?
I was about to say, week 1 was not even at the stadium, apparently. Just didn't even show up to the game. And then week 2 didn't play. Week 3 had a better performance. But like Will said earlier, against who, though, really? Wisconsin, 10 years ago, different story. Wisconsin now, not the same thing. Look, I like Georgia. I do. I mean, Kirby is a hard coach to beat, especially at home. It's a 31-game win streak right now at home. Any team does that. That's impressive enough. You think of some of the best teams in the country who have great home field environments do not have winning streaks like that. But my thing is that Kirby's 1-7 against Alabama. That is not something you're really feeling good about. I know there's been, and a lot of those games are Saban versus Kirby. I get that. I'm fully behind that. But having that matchup and having that in the back of your head, like, I've only beat Bama one time since I've been here. And it was the big one, obviously. It was the national championship game. But there's games where he should have won big and they just couldn't close it out, or they couldn't find a way to win toward the end. And look, I agree with Will. Gunnar Stockton is that guy. We kind of didn't have our doubts. We kind of just didn't know what he was really about yet because he hadn't played a lot. And man, he coming off the playoff performance, which wasn't great, was against a great Notre Dame team, obviously, but he's shown some life and some ability to be a really good quarterback. I agree with Will also on Zachariah Branch. The kid's a playmaker. Get him the ball early, often. And look, Georgia's got to establish a running game. They have to, man. This is a team that has been known to be running the ball down your throat, with some of the best running backs in college history in some instances, But, Nate Frazier, they got McCray. And look, even Zachariah Branch using run game. You got to use them. Use them somehow.
They're going to use Gunnar Stockton in the run game too.
Yeah, and that's one thing I have keyed up for Alabama. You cannot let Gunnar Stockton run free. You cannot. You got to do something to set the edge. Do not contain them. Spy them. Whatever you got to do. Do not let him run free on you, because that's so Alabama or Georgia's going to have an easy day. They'll run all over you. They will move the ball up and down the field on you, and it's going to look like Florida State all over again.
Yeah. All right, Ralph, who's your pick?
Preseason I had Alabama win the SEC, and I had them winning this game against Georgia. I said it would be a rematch. I'm leaning toward Georgia right now because of the fact that I think they're just more overall a better team going into this game. I'm taking Georgia. I'm not taking the points. I think it's a close game. I think it comes down to like a last minute drive, and Georgia just gets down the field and scores and wins.
There's a lot of things here. To me, this is one of the biggest ones.
True.
Kirby Smart has played Alabama 8 times. This will be the first time he's played them in Athens. It's also the first time he's played them without Nick Saban. He's 1-7 against Nick Saban, and Nick Saban's not there. Husky Harsin is going to be in for a nightmare in what is normally the Sunday school environment. It won't be a Sunday school environment Saturday night in Athens. Sanford Stadium is going to be loud. It's going to be rocking. I think Georgia is the better team. Georgia can run the ball. I think that's been Alabama's biggest problem. They can't run the ball. Now, Jam Miller, he's still out. They've struggled to run the ball. I think Georgia is going to do too much on offense for Alabama to keep up. Georgia's defense is going to show up and show out, and I don't think Kirby lets off the gas. He's got to get this one off his back. Get off the schneid against Alabama. It doesn't matter who's coaching over there. He's got to do it. I think it's going to be Georgia by a couple scores. think Georgia's going to be able to go almost at will.
Okay.
Especially if they can get the quarterback, if they can get Gunnar Stockton involved in the run game. It's like I said, Alabama has done nothing. They have that number 17 next to their name because they're Alabama. They have not shown any reason why they should be ranked. And I think Georgia just rolls and dominates.
Well, look, you and I, we both take Georgia here. I don't know what Bryce would have taken. He probably would have gone Georgia.
He's taking Georgia. He's a Georgia fan.
Yeah, and he would show the picture of him and Hillary at the game. Georgia, past Georgia fan. If you're at the game this weekend, you're tailgating, and
it got hot again. You're gonna need some of this stuff.
Yeah, and you're tailgating with your family, your friends, and you got some bugs flying around you. Use some all natural BS, because bugs around your tailgate, that's a BS, honestly. And this stuff works. It really works. I would show you it works if I had some with me right now. But look, I'll tell you this straight up. It works. Bryce has used it. Bryce uses it with his daughter. He uses it when he goes to games, when they're outside playing. So look, it works. Use it always, and trust us, it does work. I'll do the best I can on that ad read, and that's the best I got on that one there. Look, there's another 7:30 matchup. Will, this game obviously is a little more important to game day because of the rankings, and I'm sure they don't want to go to another Georgia game and their Alabama game. They're tired of that. Oregon goes to Happy Valley for the first time as a Big Ten team. Now, I don't know how they've ever played each other in Happy Valley ever in their entire lives, but obviously, it's a Big Ten opponent. This is the first time. And this matchup could get ugly, I feel like. It could.
I think it could get ugly, but I wonder what side you take here.
Yeah. I'll give you my little notes I have on this. And, this is Dante Moore's too early Heisman game. I think this is the game where if he is going to be that guy, that Heisman hopeful that I have him in my top 5, this is the one you got to show up and perform at, because if you don't, you can kiss that Heisman hopeful goodbye, because this is the one game they're going to look back at. How did he perform on the road and in a hostile environment against a great defense? They got to get a run game going, because if Moore starts to struggle in the pass game, they need to rely on some running game, because right now it has not really shown much. Jaden Lamar has been really the only guy that's kind of emerged as their number one running back. They got Malachi Hughes out of the portal last year from Tulane, but he has not been himself. It's not been the same guy we saw at Tulane. Now, defensively, I want to bring this guy up because he's kind of the main one everyone talks about. Bear Alexander on his third team, obviously. Portal merchant himself. They have got to stop Nick Singleton and Caton Allen. Sorry. Was it Catron? Was that right about the first time? Yeah, Catron. Now, my notes said autocorrect there. Sorry. Apologies, guys. Catron Allen, they've got to stop that duo of running backs, because if you don't, they will run up and down the field on you for 4 quarters. And like I said, like Will said a minute ago, which side could this get ugly for? If Penn State's able to run the ball the entire game, it will get ugly for Oregon, because they'll just run down their throats. Drew Aller will have the most comfortable game in his entire life.
This is a big game, and you've got 2 coaches really on opposite ends of the spectrum as far as big games go. I think Dan Lanning, still very early in his head coaching career, has already shown that he gets his teams up for big games, and they play really well. Even though they kind of got ran off the field by Ohio State in the Rose Bowl, but that was just a different Ohio State team. James Franklin has proven time and time again he can't win the big game. This is a game that he needs. Yeah, there's Austin Franklin, can't win the big game. Give me Oregon outright. Penn State and James Franklin, they need this game a lot more than Lanning and Oregon do.
Yeah.
They haven't played anybody. Literally have not played anybody yet. Oregon has played 3 power conference opponents and just wiped the floor with all of them. I guess we'll count Oregon State. They're real bad.
I thought you were going to say Oklahoma State.
They're a power conference.
Yeah.
And from what we've seen from James Franklin and Penn State in big games, they press a little bit. They start well, and then they kind of start to press. I think it's going to be the same thing here. I think Dan Lanning is going to have his guys ready to go. They're going to be up for this. It's going to be a big environment. I think that Lanning does a really good job with his players in big games, in big environments, getting his teams up for that, but also at the level where they can still perform, and they don't perform outside of their, natural abilities, I guess you could say, or they don't feel like they have to go above and beyond what they normally do. So I'm taking Oregon, and I'm taking them outright to win this game. I think they'll beat Penn State. For some reason, you said Dante Moore. I mean, this is his Heisman game. If he has a big game here, he probably goes to the top of the list for Heisman Trophy. I mean, just talk about Heisman Trophy just for a second. I mean, Carson Beck's up there, but still not the same level of competition, especially if Moore shows out. I'm talking 250 plus yards through the air, 2-3 touchdowns through the air, doesn't turn the ball over. He probably rockets to the top of the list. Mateer now injured. That's going to hurt his campaign. So it's a huge game, and I trust Dan Lanning more in big games than James Franklin.
You talk Dan Lanning getting his guys up. It just reminds me of when they played Colorado at home, or at Colorado, I think. No, it was at Oregon, wasn't it? Whatever it was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago, and Colorado came in there talking all that smack, and Dan Lanning said they're playing for clicks, we're playing for Windsor, and they go out there and boat race them. I mean, just brutally boat raced them. That's the kind of coach you want, and Oregon has that guy, and they're fully behind him. I agree with Will. I think Oregon wins this game outright. I think they got a lot of speed in this team, and Penn State's got some good defensive players. I think A.J. Harris, obviously from Columbus area, is one of the more top tier corners in the Big Ten. But stopping this receiving group, dude, is crazy. It's crazy. Corey Moore, Malik Benson, those guys are going to boat race. They're going to speed right by this secondary. I have one note for Penn State, and it's please use Devontae Ross. I'd like to see him play Saturday. I have not had a chance to watch this Penn State game all year because they play on the most random channels. I'd like to see him play. I really would. Use the Troy guy for once, please. Well, look, we both got Oregon. I think Will and I might have the same spread here during the last game too. Before we get to that, we're gonna go down south again to our brothers down there in the bayou. The Cajun Cousins, please bout it. Go code Cajun Cousins, code Crowded Booth at CajunCousins.com. Get you some pepper sauce. Hit our boys up. Look, they're great guys. I knew Drew, and one of my favorite guys to work out with growing up. He would always help out when we were in high school and doing football workouts. A great guy. He truly is, and these guys do a good job. Shout out to them. They always they come in clutch for us. Rocking the baby blue hat. I love this hat. It's very comfy, actually. It fits big heads. No pause there. Sorry, Gavin got to turn his camera off.
After dark. After dark.
That's going on the other Twitter page there, and the. All right, we'll slide to the third matchup and
back on track here.
Yeah, this would be a one that we need Bryce for. The one guy who knows more about the LSU Tigers than we do. The guy who's in house every game. LSU travels up to Oxford in what has been the most important matchup this week through social media. If you've been keeping up with what's going on between Lane Kiffin's daughter and the captain of the LSU defense.
Yeah, very interesting. That's been all the talk. Who's playing mind games here? Yeah, is Whit Weeks playing mind games or is Lane Kiffin playing mind games? I think it's Lane. Of course, you're going to think it's Lane. But Lane was, immediately after Landry posted them, he was making jokes about it. He made a post about it. It's always something. It's always something. So, Lane Kiffin doing what he always does, playing mind games. I think this is going to be the most fun game of the weekend. LSU's defense much improved under Blake Baker. Finally, there's a defensive coach down there that knows how to use Harold Perkins. I feel like a broken record. I think we say this every time we talk about LSU, but he's just that talented. It's that important.
Yeah.
Up against an Ole Miss offense that looks 10 times better with the Ferris State transfer, Trinidad Chambliss, at quarterback. I think Ole Miss is the hottest team right now, even though they kind of limped through Kentucky and Arkansas, but just blasting Tulane. They needed that game. They needed kind of a get-right thing for their offense. I think they're going to keep rolling because I think their defense, the way that LSU's played on offense, Ole Miss feels very confident if they can stop LSU just a handful of times, because I think Ole Miss figured a lot of things out offensively against Tulane with Trinidad Chambliss, and I think they keep it rolling. I'm going to take Ole Miss to win. I mean, they're favored by 1.5, but they're ranked lower, so I just have so many questions about LSU's offense. I guess I'm spoiled. Sorry, Brian Kelly. You can't run the ball. You've tried and you've struggled to run the ball. If you want to win games in the SEC, you have to run the ball. You got to run the ball. And LSU, that's their big Achilles heel right now. Nussmeier's a great quarterback, but if you can't help him out with the run game, your offense is going to struggle. So I'm taking Ole Miss.
Well, you said it there perfectly. LSU's got to establish the run, and I think I said it the last two games. It's true though. Caden Durham's got to get Caden Durham going, and if you start to get going, you can't get away from it. I think you've got to establish this run early, set the tone, let your offensive line move these guys around, and and let Nussmeier get stay healthy back there. And I say stay healthy as in don't let him get sacked, don't let him get hit. He was banged up going into Southeastern Louisiana last week. A lot of people were doubting if he was going to play at first, and then comes out there and looked extremely healthy, looked great. They did what they wanted to do. Score a lot of points, let guys get rest, and that's what they needed to do last week. That's the offense they were expecting to see in that performance. But this isn't Southeastern Louisiana. You're not playing at home on Saturday night. You're going on the road to Oxford, where last time you were there you lost, and it's a play. It gets rowdy. Vaught Hemingway can get loud for a stadium that's not really known for their crowd environment. Now tailgate environment, they do a terrific job. I like LSU secondary though. The mixture of AJ Halsey and Mansour Delane has been insane. AJ Halsey is a walking around hit stick. The dude lays the boom. That's what he got brought over to do, and has done a great job. I think you got to get your pass rush going because you can't let Trinidad Chambliss run all over you because he's a dual threat. We saw it. You saw some of his highlights from Ferris State. I went and watched some of his highlights from Ferris State today, actually, about 30 minutes before this. And
he ran for 112 yards against Arkansas.
Yeah, and I like this kid. I think he's super athletic. I think the fact that they announced that he was starting was not shocking. If they wouldn't have started him, I think it would have been very shocking, actually.
Yeah.
I think that Patrick Payton, Jack Pyburn, and Harold Perkins are going to wreak havoc back there. I think they're going to bring some. Blake Baker's going to bring some stunts in there. He's going to let Harold Perkins spy on like he did against Klubnik. No, I know that's saying a lot. But week one, we all thought Clemson was really good, and LSU went there and beat them pretty badly. But I still think what he had in his mindset in that game was impressive, and I think we see the same kind of setup. They're prepared for this. They got talent now. Major Burns is not back there anymore. Thank the Lord. I'll say it every week we get to talk about LSU. I'm tired of seeing that number 8 out there. My final thing though is I got this wide receivers got to make plays. And that game against Southeastern Louisiana, they had some drops early in the game, and it was just kind of lackluster performances on the receiving crew. They weren't playing their best game. I think they were sleeping through the first 2 drives because LSU's first opening drive they went 3 and out. Yeah, you don't go 3 and out against Southeastern Louisiana at home. So I want to see this team get up for this game early, get out there, and hit them in the face, hit them in the mouth, dude. Early, get the ball going, move. You can't let this team get in front of you early and just roll with it. Because Lane Kiffin's an elite play caller. But I'm taking LSU. I think the defense stands strong for LSU. I think that Garrett Nussmeier's ability to be a veteran quarterback in this game will help them lead them forward against Ole Miss, and they win. I'm going to say they probably win by about 7 or more. I think they win by a touchdown. I think they win by a touchdown. And I say 7 or more. It's a touchdown and maybe an extra, like a field goal late in the game. But I got LSU on the road. I think Brian Kelly's team this is the team he has. This is kind of the chance he has to win here at LSU and take it all the way. And I think they do it. They start, this game's kind of the premier focus point to this team.
Yeah.
So, I guess we're going to best bets. I guess.
Let's do games to watch first.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I see Gavin's got that thing there. Games to watch. Will and I came up with this list about 5 minutes before the show started. So I'll let Will talk about the first one because it's his game.
Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss my game preview coming out Friday. Auburn plus 6.5 at Texas A&M. Have not recorded that yet, but I have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to say. Not confident at all whatsoever. That Oklahoma game showed me a lot of things I didn't like, and maybe I am too negative because I heard a lot of people saying that that they feel better about Auburn after the Oklahoma game, but I just feel like that Auburn had a chance to win the game, played more than well enough to win the game, and felt like they still found a way to lose, and they just kind of rolled over when they got the lead, which is shocking. Doesn't make any sense, but it's kind of what happened. Sticking in the SEC, Tennessee travels to Mississippi State. Tennessee is 7.5-point favorite.
Sneaky game. It's sneaky.
Some high-powered offenses in this game. I think we'll see a lot of points.
Yeah.
USC travels to Illinois. They are a 6.5-point favorite. Illinois coming off of just
that rat killing.
Yeah, just laid an egg, just didn't show up. I think that's going to be a sneaky game. I think everybody's kind of writing off Illinois already.
Yeah.
And it seems like the national conversations, everybody wants USC to be good again. They got a good quarterback, Jaden Maava, but I admittedly have not watched any USC, so I'm skeptical.
Gavin's the guy who is really high on USC. He hasn't made the playoffs this year. Just remember that.
Okay. I mean, they win the Big Ten. They can do it. Ohio State travels to Washington. Ohio State, an 8.5-point favorite. This spread has gone all over the place. I think Ohio State opened at 14 or 14.5. Washington's a really good football team. They've looked really good. Jed Fish has done an excellent job so far in kind of maintaining what Kalen DeBoer elevated, obviously getting into the national title game. Jed Fish has done an excellent job. Jed Fish is an excellent head coach. That'll be a good one to watch. I'll have my eye on that one for sure for later kickoff. And then Notre Dame travels to Arkansas. Notre Dame only a 4.5-point favorite. Notre Dame, their offense has not looked good this year. But Arkansas just feels like they are just like limping to the end of the season already. Sam Pittman feels like a dead man walking after that Memphis game. But, with what we've seen from Notre Dame, with that point spread, Vegas gives Notre Dame. Sam Pittman might get to keep his job.
12 o'clock kickoff, man. Is in they're in Fayetteville. I mean, Notre Dame's walking into a place they've never played before. This is, I saw a meme the other day. It was like Notre Dame walking into Fayetteville, Arkansas, like Notre Dame fans, and it's like a new world to them.
Yeah,
this is a new world. This is as much as this is really SEC country, but like it's a different world in Fayetteville. They got some weird chants out there. They say "woo pig" a lot. It's really weird.
Yeah, so loaded day of college football from 9 o'clock when game day starts to well past midnight. We got a big day of college football.
Yeah, and it's a great day of college football. It sucks that it's only this one day. We don't get more days like this year.
Hey, Thursday and Friday got some good games too.
Friday's got a weird one. I don't understand why Florida State's playing Virginia on Friday night. That makes no sense to me.
Be on TV. Welcome to the ACC. If you're, as I would describe myself, a purist, you'd probably call me a sicko. Tomorrow night, Army and East Carolina. I'll be tuned into that. I'm so pumped up for that game. I don't even know what the NFL game is. Don't even care because I'm going to be locked into Army watching that triple option.
Well, it'd be nice if you could watch both games on split screen, but they decided to have Amazon Prime on Thursday night, so you can't do that. We'll go to our best bets. This is kind of a fun one. We're all tied again. Will Mannis, it shows Boston College -6.5 against Cal. We know why he's choosing that game. There's no obvious reason why he's not choosing that game. I have gone with Louisville -4.5 at Pitt. And Bryce is a game time decision due to illness. If you have any questions of why we put that, just ask Gavin in the Discord. Please join the Discord, by the way.
Yeah, Bryce going through it. Through it tonight. Yeah, Cal, I mean, obviously a hate watch. But Cal got shut out by San Diego State last week. They had a good start and then got really dropped down to earth. Probably as smart. You should be fading all of that. But mostly hate watch.
Fade Addy. Don't fade Addy though. She's 4-0 this year. Will, I don't disagree with this bet. Cal looked horrendous last week. Against a team that's really not that good. They're not bad. They're a good San Diego State, but they're not great. And
Cal, welcome to the Brian Harsin experience.
Yeah, that offense. The saying is not nice, but they crapped the bed. They truly did. Look, Louisville on the road. This is a team that is well coached. Jeff Brom has been a terrific head coach there. It seems like every single season he's been there, and I guess it's been 2 now. He brings a quarterback in that everyone's written off, no matter where he was at. He's got Miller Moss this year, a guy that USC was super high on going into last year. And they just kind of wrote him off. He said, hey, look, he's not the guy we thought he was. He can go in, he can kick rocks and go somewhere else. Now, Jeff Brom's got in Louisville, man. He's a quarterback whisperer. I mean, I have to say it. He really is. He's done some – it's impressive what he did with Tyler Schott to get him an NFL quarterback position, which is insane enough. But Miller Moss, kind of a slow start this year. Has he 40 in Athens? Oh, boy. I read that all out, didn't I? All right. Look, Louisville's got a great running back, though. Isaac Brown, one of the top running backs in the ACC. I know a lot of people don't agree with that, but Dev says he's so good year over year. They're all well coached and play well beyond their talent every year. I agree. We saw it last year. We saw it the last 2 years, really. No one thought Louisville had a chance in that Georgia Tech game 2 years ago, and that offense, that quarterback, they stepped up and made plays, man. They got the game. They got that win late in the game. Yeah, I see it. I see it. Don't put that up there. Yeah, good job. Thanks, Gavin. I appreciate it.
That was me.
Oh, that makes more sense. Well, guys, look, great week of football ahead. Stay tuned to anything else coming out this week. Will's got his Auburn preview coming out Friday morning. You're going to want to hear what he has to say because I can tell you right now, I'll be listening to it because I want to hear why he thinks Auburn's going to lose by so many points. Bryce will have, I'm sure, a reaction for Georgia Tech on Saturday. If he does, I don't know what his schedule's going to be like. He'll be obviously at the Ole Miss LSU game. We'll get more information on what his schedule looks like this weekend. But look,
I'll also have a live reaction to the Auburn game.
We'll have a live reaction after the Auburn A&M game.
Or because Alabama, Georgia will be right after. Maybe just save that for Sunday. Record it and post Sunday.
We will announce what we will do. If Auburn wins, we'll be doing a recording immediately. It'll be live reaction.
I'll be on camera naked.
I don't think we should do that one, Will. there's other streaming platforms for that.
You got to pay for that.
Yeah. Thank you all for watching tonight. I know sometimes it's hard to listen to Will and I talk, but look, we appreciate everybody being here. Like I said, stay tuned, join us, follow the socials, join the Discord, and hey, let's have a great weekend of football. And everyone, tailgate your butts off this weekend. Have fun. Good night.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The crowded booth is coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Coon.